Alright, so what I've decided to do today, since I've noticed a bulk group of our users on routers seem to have internet issues with their browsers and security and antivirus and so forth, I'm just going to do a little security tutorial here for you. Um, I have a couple tools that I like to use. Obviously, I advocate that you use antivirus. It's worth the money. Which one you use is completely up to you. McAfee, Symantec, it doesn't really matter. Uh, Kaspersky, Penicillin, it really doesn't matter as long as it's paid for. Meaning you get the support, all the stuff that goes with it. Don't use the free stuff. It does a very poor job overall, especially things like Microsoft Security Essentials. That stuff's garbage. It doesn't actually do very much of anything. Um, I personally run Symantec because I get it from the government for free. Before that, I ran Norton and McAfee, and I've done Trend Micro, PC. I've tried them all. I like this personally, endpoint protection, because it provides a very low footprint, but it does all three in one. It's similar to Norton's 360 commercial internet security suite that does antivirus, anti-spyware, network intrusion, and so forth. And as long as I've been running it, I've never had a problem. So um, make sure you get a legit antivirus. So that's the first thing. Now to the subject of web browsers, I noticed a lot of people have issues when it comes to pop-ups and whatever. Now at work, I notice on my CNN I have all this garbage down the sides, but at home I don't. And it's the same thing with Amazon, Google, what have you. I don't get a lot of the crap because I run what is known as a host manager program, which I have right here on my desktop. And I'll open it up for you now. And what this program does is it manages the host file that is located within your Windows system here. Now, C, Windows, System 32, drivers/etc. Etc is a Unix-based directory, but even Windows was based on Unix at the start. So what it uses here, this is a flat file. And what that flat file does is a flat version of DNS, and it maps host name, web name to IP addresses. How this can benefit you is it takes and maps 127.0.0.1, that's your loopback, or your local address, to your network card. That's the one internal. So anytime you send something here, it just comes back to the host. It never goes out of network. The way this can help you is you can use that and put any web page, IP address, or site that you don't want your computer to load, or your children to see, or your small business, because it's a free tool you can use here, this host manager. And you can filter the content that comes across your internet. And in turn, you can stop people from being able to load garbage onto your PC unwillingly without you knowing. So this is my current list. I get it from the company that created it here. You have to pay to get it now. So when I post this tutorial, I will give you a copy of the program and the current host file I use. Or you can generate one from yourself. These two entries here, localhost and broadcaster, will be the only two things in your standard host file. Everything else here is stuff that I have added that are known honeypots, spam sites, adware, malware. Just add garbage, false sites that are meant for, ripping you off if you're a Bank of America customer. That actually is a spoof site. So, I mean, if you come across, you get a bulletin, let's say, from your company that says, hey, this is a duplicate of our site, but it's actually used to deceive us, you can put that in there. So anyway, you have all these ads in here and any other garbage you want to throw in here. And the list can be as long as you want. If you want to turn it off and browse safely without it, that's fine. The only thing it really does for you, besides blocking these sites, is it frees up a lot of your internet bandwidth. Because with this enabled, you won't have all these things trying to run in the background. It only loads the content of the actual page. Therefore, the page will load faster because it's not trying to pull in all the extra metadata. So, that file again, that's located here, Etsy driver as host. When you edit it in a text editor, or use this program I'm going to provide. I recommend the program. That way you can more easily manage it. Being that it's a flat Windows-based file, here it's going to always remain formatted properly. If you do it yourself, you're more likely to screw it up. So, but I have cnn.com right now. Let's say I want to block that for whatever reason. I'm just using it as an example. If I wanted to kill cnn.com on my computer, I'm going to go ahead and disable my list, and I'm going to edit it. You can either add something down here at the bottom, search, options, tools. I mean, there's so many ways to do this. Oh, and using this, you need to disable DNS in the service, FYI. It doesn't really help you in Windows anyway, so just go into your services panel and disable the DNS permanently. Because you're not running off a server, so you don't need the DNS service. You get it from your web host provider. I really don't know why they still include it unless you're building a network within your house of actual work group or server-based system. Anyway, if we want to block CNN.com, we'll type in 127.0.0.1 space www.cnn.com. And then you're going to hit add. Alright, so now it's in there, but it hasn't been written to record yet. So you're going to save it, and then you're going to enable your file. Okay, and we don't even have to close our browser for this to take effect. It should block it. Yep. And just like that, it's gone. So this applies to anything you want. I'd highly recommend it. So if we want to take it back out, we can delete it. Disable it. Save our file, and enable. Now CNN should run. Bam, now we can get there. So this is a free tool. Like I said, I definitely recommend it. I think it can do a lot for you. It's limited literally to only what you want to use it for. Another thing I recommend you do, if you are the actual network administrator for your house, the person that manages your router, I recommend you go in there and you enable a MAC filter. These are all the clients on my network right now. But under my wireless settings, there's a MAC filter. I'm not going to show you because it'll bring up my passwords and stuff like that, and I don't want to have to edit the video to take it out. But you can go in there and turn on the MAC filter. And MAC filtering locks it down to a physical address versus an IP-based address system for other items on your network. So if you do that, you can, if you're not in the list of, and these are the current client lists, I have more than this, but if you actually put that physical address into your Xbox 360, as you see mine is, or your PS3, or your computer, or your phone, if they're not on that list, they can't access your network and they can't actually go to anything on your traffic. The next thing I would recommend you do is you disable the broadcasting of your SSID, which is your wireless network name. If you're not broadcasting it, people can't pick up on it as easily, so people that wirelessly snoop your traffic won't be able to pick up your network, make it harder to crack in. I definitely recommend you use a secure password, change it often, usually at minimum every 6 months. I recommend 15 character, uppercase, lowercase, special characters, and numbers. I mean, you have to think about what a brute force dictionary attack does, and if you're not familiar with network security, obviously the more combinations you throw in there, the longer it'll take to attack it. And most people, hackers, it's what I do for a living, if it's more work than it's worth to get the data, we just move on to the next target, the easiest one. We don't stay on something that's, unless it's a valuable target, we're not going to go after it. So if you make it too hard for somebody to get in, they're not going to spend the time unless you have something they really want, and most home networks don't. So people that download illegally and use other people's networks to do it, if your network's unsecured, they're going to piggyback off you. You can claim deniability, but, or, you know, what's the word? Plausible deniability, I guess, but you're not going to be able to do that forever before your internet provider just shuts you down flat out. So I definitely recommend that you think about that and secure your network if you don't already have it done so. So anyway, I hope this proves helpful. I will attach both a copy of my host file and the program, since you now have to pay for both. Even though they were free when I downloaded them, they're still free now. They just want donations because it costs money to run their services. but it didn't cost money to buy the program, so they've switched to a different model anyway. If you have any questions, feel free to reply back in the chat. And all right, I really hope this does people some good.